Have you ever wondered how the NFL really got started? What transpired to make this multi-billion-dollar company? Well, let's go on a journey here. We're going to take you back to 1920. All right, now we're in 1920, and a bunch of car dealership and car manufacturer owners got together and started the APFA, the All Professional Football Association, which then, in 2 years later, turned into the NFL. Now, at first, there was an African American player, but after he left the NFL, the group got together, all the owners got together, and made a gentleman's handshake saying they would no longer be signing or drafting African American players to their teams. Now, that all stopped in 1946, but we'll get there when we get there. We're going to keep going in chronological order. So, 1922 started the NFL. In 1933, the NFL had Champions games. These were just regular football championship games. No, that's all you got was the championship game. Now, World War II hit the NFL hard and made teams merge together, creating teams such as the Steagles, Steelers and Eagles, obviously. But after World War II, football was so popular, the NFL jumped back to it, and a new association came around called the AAFC. That was in 1944. They later joined the NFL and merged together in 1949. In 1949, Jim Brown was credited with film studies as being the first person to do it, and the Browns were electric. Now, if you watch the NFL now, it's completely opposite. But back then, the Browns were an amazing team. Well, he then retired at the age of 29, which probably is the reason why the Browns suck now. Now, the NFL was prospering so much, they started a new league called the AFL, American Football League, formed in 1960. But back in the NFL, the Packers were dominating. They won the first two Super Bowls, which gave the Super Bowl, the championship trophy, the name Lombardi Trophy, named after Vince Lombardi, of the coach of the Packers. Now, travel on a few more years, and in 1979, the AFL and the NFL merged. I know this seems all boring still, and I skipped a little bit, so let's take it back a little bit. So in 1946, the Rams in Los Angeles were forced by the Los Angeles Coliseum to sign an African American player, or they were going to be evicted from the Coliseum. So they ended up signing two players from UCLA, Kenny Washington and Woody Strode, while the Browns, on their own free will, signed Bill Willis and Marion Motley. And that is how African American players got back into the NFL after being kicked out. All right, let's jump back forward. Now, through this time period, the NFL was mainly a running league. They did have quarterbacks who passed the ball, but it wasn't very often, or, the quarterbacks weren't like these superstars that we have now. So with that being said, Air Coryell was invented by the Chargers and the Chargers head coach. And that was used by the 49ers, with Joe Montana winning 3 bowls. And that was insane. So Bill Parcells said he was going to stop it, and he created a defense to win them, the Giants, 2 Super Bowls back-to-back. And then the Redskins going back-to-back to win 2 when they went back to using the ground game more often. Now we're going to jump forward into the 90s. The 90s had some prolific football teams. You had the 49ers. You had the Cowboys becoming America's team when they won 3. You had Jerry Rice of the 49ers breaking records. The Broncos won 2. So all these teams were becoming these super teams. And while that was going on, the Bills were going to AFC championships, were going to the Super Bowl, but they were setting records for losing 4 Super Bowls. That's insane. Could you imagine going 4 times and losing in 10 years? Well, let's jump to today's game in the 2000s. All of these teams were crumbling. And it changed the hands of the powerhouses. And to be honest, one major powerhouse, one dynasty that's given two people the titles of greatest player, greatest quarterback, however you want to phrase it, and greatest coach of all time. Those two players being Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. Now, that's debatable, but they did win 6 championships together, and Tom Brady went on to win a 7th with the Buccaneers. The NFL has given us some great things. Players today like Patrick Mahomes, Odell Beckham Jr. making that one-handed catch. Some great plays like the Giants with Eli Manning tossing it up and one-handed catch on the head. But it's hard-hitting. It's entertaining. Sports betting is wonderful. Get into sports betting. You'll get into football. So if you want to know about football, rewind this video and watch it all again. It's crazy that Vince Lombardi is still the name for the Super Bowl trophy, even though we've had multiple other dynasties. Crazy. Thank you. There's been some great nicknames over the years, like The Bus. Deion Sanders was Primetime, Megatron, Legatron, Beast Mode, Dan Sharp, a whole...
Look at this nigga. Look at Drew Brees. Oh, that's easy. Nah, look at Marshawn. Yeah, I did that shit for y'all niggas, man. This shit was so nasty.